Hey, what's up, guys? So, first off, let me apologize. I missed making a video last week, first one this year. Proud of myself for having made it to almost the end of April before missing a week. But no excuses, I'll get back on. But I'll talk more about why the video was missed at the end of this video. But I want to actually jump right into today's topic because if you can't tell, I'm actually driving to Florida from South Carolina. And I've been having, I'm not even going to say banter, and forgive me for not looking at the camera as much. I'm driving clearly, so that's where my focus is going to be. And I'll be shifting my eyes back and forth because I still like to, steal a little eye contact where I can, right? But I was having some banter back and forth with people regarding cost of living, and this was actually Hawaii, where I lived for 10 years. It was back and forth about the cost of living and the jobs not paying enough for people to be able to afford housing, basically being able to afford to buy a house. And I think if you're watching this video, you would agree that that is not a conversation that is exclusive to Hawaii. Despite people in Hawaii, they call themselves locals if they're born and raised, or if they are truly Hawaiian, right? There's a difference. But they consider themselves locals, right? So they may, in their mind, a lot of them think that the mainlands, which would be what we refer to as the continental United States, right? The other 49 states, right? Not in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. They think that everything over here is just affordable, right? So they believe that Hawaii is expensive, and it is. It is one of the most expensive states in America. Don't kid yourself there. But they believe that, the fact that, everyone there can't afford a house, or most can't afford a house, is a conversation exclusive to them. And I would argue that there's people in South Florida where I live, there's people everywhere, really, all over the U.S. that would say, housing has gotten too expensive, right? You can go to Orlando, Central Florida, and you would still find people that would say, man, houses are starting to cost $300,000, $400,000 or $500,000. It's, who can afford that? And you can go to South Florida where homes are $1, $2, $3 million. And I don't think there's as much of a complaint there, but there'll still be people that live there that are leaving there that are going, hey, I've been priced out, it's too expensive. And so I only point that out to say that, the concept of not being able to afford to live, or the cost of living being too high, is not a unique challenge or problem exclusive to a particular location. It is not exclusive to a particular gender, nor is it exclusive to a particular race, nor is it even exclusive to a particular faith or religious belief, or lack thereof of a religious belief, right? It's universal. It's a universal challenge that we all have. I lived on the East Coast in Virginia. I've lived in South Florida. I've lived in Hawaii for 10 years, and I have also visited many different countries throughout my years of living on this earth. And I can tell you that everywhere you go, for the most part, overall, the general consensus among the general public is things cost a little bit more than they like for them to cost, and they don't quite get paid what they think they should get paid. And what they get paid either is a very tight budget, or what they get paid does not allow them to live how they would like to live. Period. That is the underlying theme or conversation around the world for the most part, in countries with a capitalistic society. So I want to talk about why it is that your job will never pay you enough. Your job will never pay you enough for you to live how you want to live. And I can share with you why that is. And so many times I hear people say, oh, there's a conversation about minimum wage, and you hear this term, a livable, like L as in, Lima, a living wage, right? People go, well, we need to have a living wage. And the problem with that is you're ignoring economics, right? So what do I mean by that? You go, well, no, I'm not ignoring economics. You're going like, hey, I don't make enough money to afford this, so they need to pay me more. Well, that's one way to look at it, but you're ignoring the true economics of business, right? So in a capitalistic society like America, right, and most countries that we do business with, like Europe, Japan, etc., Australia, you have to provide a product or service that people want in exchange for money. Period. That's the way you make money. Outside of the government taxing people and paying their workers some money, right, from taxes. Everyone else has, and even that, they're providing a service, right? Now, we may not like the service rendered, right? But they tax us, and in exchange for that, we get policemen and we get firemen, and we have sidewalks and we have interstates, right? And someone sort of maintains them, right? They may not maintain them the way that we agree, but we can all agree that none of us have directly, taken out $100,000 and said, hey, I need you to resurface this section of the interstate that I drive every day, right? We all can agree that we've never footed that bill directly, right? But we can all agree we've paid taxes, and through those taxes or, extra assessments that collectively we've paid money to go to these things, right? So you can understand that point with government. Now I want to get to the job, right? Which is really the problem, right? Because, right now we're focused on, hey, yeah. All of that sounds good, but let's get to my job does not pay me enough. And I'm telling you that you're ignoring basic economics. Because you don't understand, and I'm trying to help you here. Trust me, this is coming, because I can sometimes come off a little brash, a little, I guess you could say unemotional sometimes. But it's really to help you see the light is what I'm trying to do. And it's not to bash you, it's not to shame you, it's not to belittle you, but it's to say, hey, clearly what you're doing, what you're saying is not working, right? So you can continue saying, I don't get paid enough. And how's that working for you? Because if that was the case, everyone that says that would just automatically get a pay raise and they would get paid, what they thought they should be getting paid. So we know that's not going to work, right? So now we have to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, what determines how much I get paid? What is the actual formula that gives me that output, right? What plus what times what equals the paycheck that I bring home every week or every 2 weeks, right? So let's go with step one, right? We all assume that you're working more or less 40 to 60 hours a week, right? That's pretty standard across America. Not really special, not really bad, but in general, 40 to 50 to 60 hours a week is pretty normal for most people, right? It's not unheard of for most people to work that amount of hours and consider themselves full-time, right? So we got that. On average, you're going to work 40 to 60 hours a week. Okay, got that. Now, depending on your skill set. So that's step one. What are your actual skills, right? Now, we know we're living in a society where a bachelor or a master's or even a doctorate degree is having or is seen as less and less valuable to the workplace, to the marketplace, right? So once upon a time, 60, 70 years ago, when everybody worked at Ford in the tire plant, in the manufacturing plant, yes, a bachelor's degree ensured that you earn more money. Today, you can find job posts $2 above minimum wage where the requirement is a bachelor's degree. So, if minimum wage in that state is $15 an hour, they'll offer you $17 an hour and say that you have to have a bachelor's degree, right? But who went to school for 4 years to get paid $2 over minimum wage, right? You could have just worked for 4 years and got promotions and got paid more than $2 more per hour than minimum wage, right? You could have just done that just through promotions, right? So skills, right? So that's why I say skills and not necessarily education, because we have been misguided as a whole, as society, to mistaken education with skills. So I'll give you an example. Let's say an engineer went to school, just got their bachelor's degree. Why is my tongue slipping? It sounds like my tongue's slurring a little bit. But bachelor with the B, they got their bachelor's degree. Let's say they just graduated today. They walked across the stage, woohoo, tossed that tassel over to the other side. And now, are we going to have them go and approve the final build for a bridge, or the final build for a building or a construction site? The answer is no. No, we will not. From my understanding, most places, after you get your bachelor's degree, if you don't already have to go and get a master's degree, you still have to spend 4 to 5 years working in that field as an engineer to be fully certified to be able to go and approve a building plan or a construction plan, or to go and inspect for final approval to say, hey, this bridge is safe for use, or this building is safe for use based on the construction plans that I see laid out, right? And to actually go inspect that and to sign off on it and to be the certifying signature, that takes about 4 or 5 years once you start actually working at an engineering company, right? So if you got all the education in 4 years with your degree, why does it take 5 years of work experience on the job for them to trust you to be able to sign off on that? Now, we don't need to go into a whole in-depth conversation on that because we're getting off on a tangent, but it just suffices to say that it's a real world example of saying, hey, your bachelor's degree does not give you experience. So it's just a feather in your hat, as the old folks used to say. It's just a bonus, but it's not a skill, right? You took tests, you regurgitated information, you wrote some essays, and then they gave you a sheet of paper that said you passed these tests with an 80% or better grade. That's it. It doesn't mean you know how to do anything, right? So that's why when you get out here in the quote unquote real world after you graduate with your bachelor's degree, you find out that your jobs or the companies that are willing to pay more than pennies on the dollar, they want some work experience. They want to see tangible evidence that you know what you're doing. They want to know that you have real skills, right? So again, the bachelor's degree, the master's degree, the PhD, all that stuff, we're going to say it has minimal value when it comes to how much you're getting paid. It's more like a check in the box. You either have it or you don't, right? That's it. It's kind of like having a driver's license, right? How many of us drive every day and we see people that we think are idiots, right? And we go, this guy cut me off, that guy cut me off. What is this lady doing? What is that guy doing? Do they even know how to drive, right? So your bachelor's degree is equivalent of having that driver's license, right? You took a couple of tests, you passed it, you didn't crash the car with the instructor in there, or maybe the instructor just did you a favor and signed off anyway because they liked you, or they're just lazy, didn't want to do their job, right? But however they did it, you got a driver's license. That doesn't mean you're a great driver. Doesn't mean you're an excellent driver. Doesn't mean you're a considerate driver. Doesn't mean that you're aware, right? It just means that you got a driver's license. That's all it means. So, your bachelor's degree is the same way. It just means that you took some tests and you passed them. Doesn't mean that you have skills. Doesn't mean that you don't have skills. It remains to be determined, right? So, skills is really what's going to determine. You got your 40, 60 hours a week that you're working, right? Let's go back to the formula. Now, the next thing is skills. What skills do you have that we can charge more or less for, right? Now, the next thing besides skill is what are your competitors, i.e., not necessarily businesses, but what are the other people who have the similar skills as you? What are they willing to work for? Right? So I want you to think about that. So let's say you are, let's find a job that's really hard work where we feel like people should get paid more. Let's say you're really good at doing a roof, right? You know how to climb on top of a house and build a roof in one day or whatever, right? Let's say that you're just really good at finishing off the roofs, right? You know how to put the shingles on, right? You know how to build the arch and things like that. You know how to build the drains on there so that they're really well. And I mean, you know how to adapt the roof based on whether you live in a cold weather, a warm weather environment, or rainy environment, et cetera, right? You're a master roof builder. You know how to build roofs with your hands. All you need is a saw, the wood, the materials, and the right tools, and you can build whatever roof is need to be built. You're great at it, right? Well, that's great, and you're willing to work 40, 60 hours a week. Okay, that's part of formula. But now, are you the only person in the world that can build roofs? No. Anywhere you go in the world, you can find a building, a house, an apartment with a roof on it, good or bad roof, basically. So that skill set, although it's valuable, we all need a roof over our head when we go to sleep at night, or else we're homeless, we're outside, or we're in a tent, or we're in a car sleeping, right? But if we want to live in a building, right, we need a roof over it, right, to keep us out of the elements, to keep the rain from falling on us, and to help, insulate the interior so we can have air conditioning, heat, et cetera, et cetera. We all need roofing. But how many people can build a good roof? Quite a few people. So now, you're willing to work 40, 60 hours. You do have a very valuable skill set in building roofs. But now, what is the marketplace willing to pay for that? What is a good roofer? How much do they cost, right? How much is a good roofer willing to work per hour? And what's your competition? And let's say Larry is a great roofer. He's excellent. He's willing to work 40, 60 hours a week, can show a great resume. But now, what about Bob? What about Tom? What about John? What about Mike? Right? What about Al? Right? What about David? What about all those other guys that are also master roof builders? Right? So now we got competition. So now you're not the only game in town. We got demand for roofs, right? You're excellent at building roofs, but there's competition. There's more than one man out here in your city, in your area, that's willing to build a good roof. Now stick with me. I'm going to bring this back and relate this to your job, in case you're wondering, or in case you can't quite see the pieces coming together just yet, right? But the point is, those people are going to determine what you're getting paid as well. So let's say Larry says, hey, I'll build your roof for $100 an hour, I'll work for your company building roofs for $100 an hour. And they say, okay, great, Larry, we'll call you back. Then say yay or nay. Al comes in, and Al's got a different situation at home, right? Al's just just trying to make ends meet. He's on his last $2. Al is almost willing to work for free and say, just feed me food at the end of the shift and I'll do a great job, right? So Al, just starts out a number. He says, I'll do it for 25 an hour, 22, 25, 22, right? Something. Just give me something, right? That's what Al says. He'll say, okay, great, Al. I don't know if you like that number or not, but they don't tell you that. But say, hey, okay, we'll call you back, Al. Right? Then they go to Tom. Tom says the same thing, but Tom says $50 an hour, right? Then Bob says $45 an hour, right? Then Al or John, they come at $45 an hour, right? And then all of a sudden, the company starts to realize, okay, wait a minute. It seems that if we pay somewhere between $40 and $50 an hour, we can get a good roofer that's willing to work for 40 to 60 hours a week, right? To do this job that we need. And so therefore, they hire whoever gets paid. Whoever they hire, they get paid between that $40 and $50 an hour. And they go, hey, you got to work 40, 60 hours a week, and you're going to build great roofs for us. And that's the job, right? Now, they say they hire Tom, they hire Al, whatever. And let's say Tom goes back, because he was the one that wanted to do 100 an hour, and he goes, man, that's crazy. They're getting paid so much to do a roof job. I know they're charging the customer $2,000-$3,000 for the roof. It takes 8 hours to build the roof, and they're only paying me, they're only offering me $50 an hour, which is what, $400, and they're going to charge the client $2,000 or $4,000, and I'm only going to get paid $400, and I'm the one that's building the whole roof, yada, 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 right? They go, how am I supposed to live off $50 an hour, right? Because I got this bill, I got that bill, I got this house, got this mortgage, right? I got this car, I got these kids, I got this wife, et cetera, right? That's the conversation Tom's having. So he's like, I need to get paid $100 an hour. But the fair market value based on the competition of other people that can do the same job as Tom, their willingness to work the same amount of hours as Tom, says that, hey, we can find someone that's competent in this skill for $40 to $50 an hour. So we don't need to pay you $100 an hour, right? But now notice what the company is looking at. The company is looking at what is the demand for what they need to be able to fulfill the job, right? Because they got to have a roof built. They're looking at, okay, how much does it cost to get someone competent, right? And then what's the going rate for a competent person, right? Right? What's the fair market value for that person? That's what they're asking. Now, what the company did not ask, and they never will ask unless you're extremely valuable and you're one of one, right? Is, hey, Bob, hey, Sally, hey, Mary, how much do you need to live? Right? Forget the competition, right? We talked to Tom, we talked to Al, we talked to John, but you are the roof builder. I mean, you're one of one. The way you build roofs, no one else can touch you. You have mastered this craft in a way that, other people can't even imagine, right? So we're willing to offer you, whatever, write your numbers down, basically, right? Give us your numbers. Whoa. Man, I'm watching these guys like, golly, boy, ooh. Dang. Now, I hope y'all can see this. Well, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but this car is like, he dang near ran over the trooper. Like, we have this merge up here from 2 lanes to 1 lane, and this car literally is like up on the cop's butt waiting to change. I mean, he ran all the way on the cop. That's crazy. But anyways, what the company didn't do is they didn't ask, Or what they would do, let's say if you are one, they'll say, hey, Tom, what do you need to live, right? What's it going to take for you to work with us, right? Now, why would a company do that? That would only be if Tom is so valuable with his skill of building roofs and, right, that there's not a lot of, there's very slim pickings when it comes to replacing him, right? So I believe it was either Zig Ziglar or I want to say it was Zig. He says, we are paid in proportion to the difficult, or the first of all, the demand, right? The demand for what we do, our ability to do it, right? And the difficulty there is in replacing us, right? So obviously there's demand for roofing, no doubt about that, right? And let's say you are the master roofer, right? And now you are difficult to replace, right? Because there's just two guys, let's say in the whole state or the whole city that knows how to build roofs the way you do. Another guy, works in a company and it's a family company, so he's never leaving. So Tom's one of one, right? You either get Tom or you ain't gonna get it done, or you gotta go hire the other company because they're the only other people that know how to build roofs the way you and Tom do, right? Now in that case, a company might just offer you, hey, what do you need for you and your family to be happy? How much will it take for you to come work for us versus a competition? Yeah, maybe then they might ask. But again, you have to be so exclusively skilled, right? Now, let's look at another example of this once again, and we're going to bring it back to you and your job. Let's look at sports. Who are the athletes that can command the highest salaries, right? It's the great ones on the team. Steph Curry, right? The Tom Brady's, right? The Patrick Mahomes, right? But now Patrick Mahomes can command a certain price, but his teammate, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, I believe is his name, or Scantling Valdez. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, I believe is his name. The wide receiver on the team for the Chiefs. He can't command and pay in his salary what Patrick Mahomes does. Now you go, oh, well, he's a receiver. Patrick Mahomes is a quarterback. It's not fair. Okay, well, he can't command in salary what Tyreek Hill gets, what a Justin Jefferson would get, or a Stephon Diggs might get, right? He can't do that. Why? Because his production, his skill set is not that high compared to the other guys, compared to the competition. So the company's not going to pay him as much as they'd be willing to pay someone like a Tyreek Hill, right? Because his numbers aren't there, right? Now, we again say our company doesn't pay us enough money to live. And I want you to look at that formula I just gave you and those examples. Where in that did the company go, okay, let's see, Isaac's married, he's got 5 kids, he's got 2 cars, we got to pay Isaac $60 an hour, in order for him to live so that he can do this job and, take care of his family. Where was that in the equation? It's not. You want to know why? Because your job, that offering, is never about you. It's all about the company. The company has to make a profit to remain in business, period. So when they're looking to expand or they're looking to continue operations, they're either replacing a job that was lost or someone that was lost that either passed or moved on to whatever may have you, that job was lost, or they're expanding and they're creating new opportunities of jobs, right? So they have to remain profitable. If they make $1 and then they pay you $1, they can't eat. So therefore, the business goes out of business unless the government comes and gives them money, right? And subsidizes them, right? That's the only other way it works, right? So, with that being said, they can never pay you what you think you need to live unless your skill set is so highly unique and highly in demand, and it's incredibly difficult to replace you, then you can write your own numbers, right? But how many Steph Currys can you find? How many LeBron Jameses can you find? I mean, how many guys are in the NBA? I'll tell you, right now, there are at least the NBA on average has at a minimum 1,000 players on the active roster between all the teams in the NBA. So it's about 1,000 guys in the NBA. And forgive me if I'm mixing up my numbers with football and basketball, but I believe for the NBA it was 1,000, if I'm not mistaken. Does that sound right? It might actually be less. But either way, let's just say it's 1,000. Forgive me, I haven't looked that up. But let's say it's 1,000 people. It's either for the NBA or the NFL, but it doesn't matter. But let's just say it's the NBA. There's 1,000 guys on the active roster in the NBA. Doesn't matter, even if it was 100 guys. Doesn't matter, right? How many Steph Currys and LeBron James can you name? Yeah, I think 1,000 sounds about right, you know? You got how many all-stars can you actually name off the top of your head? Maybe 10, 20. You got Steph Curry, you got LeBron James, you got what's his name? Kyrie, Dave Lillard, you know, KD, AD. Right, so you probably might have maybe 20, 30 guys you could probably name. And then after that, the list just falls off a cliff, right? Or I want you to go, let's see the Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. You got Patrick Mahomes. You got Travis Kelce. Man, I forget the defensive end. You can see his face, but they got that defensive end. They got Pacheco. And then who else is really like an all-star on the team, you know? Like a just all-out baller, Pro Bowl baller, right? The list starts to fall off pretty quickly. And so, if you're not the Steph Curry of your job, if you're not the LeBron James of your job, how can you ever demand of your company or from any company to pay you enough to live how you want to live? Right? Because it's economics. The company is not paying you that money so you can go buy a Mercedes-Benz or a Lamborghini or a house. They're paying you that money to provide them a product or a service that you offer so that they can in turn service their customers, their clients, and turn a profit. Right? So let me give you an example, right? Let's say I get a contract, and let's just say I'm the business owner, right? So you can understand it. Or you could be the business owner. Doesn't matter, right? But let's say you and I are in partnership together. We're business owners together. We're joint owners. But I'm the controlling partner. I own 51%. You own the 49%. You're just along for the cruise, right? And we get a contract to build a house, right? And we go out there, we send out our estimators. Our estimators say, hey, it's going to cost $100,000 to build this house. And between you and I, we say, well, if it costs $100,000, we got to front that money up. We want to make at least that. We would at least want to double our money, right? So we're going to charge the customer $200,000 to build the house, right? And the customer looks at it, says, okay, $200,000 to build the house, we'll take it. And we sign a contract, right? Now, are you and I as partners going to go out there and build that house ourselves? No way, Jose, right? We're going to partner up with other people and products and services, right? We're going to put a team together if we don't already have a team put together, right? And we're going to have the materials delivered, right? We're going to go to Home Depot and we're going to put either money down or we're going to put it on the credit card, right? But we're going to order materials there. We're going to go to all the construction vendors that, that we have a network with, and we're going to order all the materials that are needed and have them shipped and delivered to the job site, right? And then after that, let's say we didn't have a crew, we're going to hire a crew, right? And we're going to figure out, okay, who can lay the foundation, right? Who can do the plumbing? Who can do the electricity, right? Who can do the walls, right? The interior. Who can do the roofing? Who can do the insulation, right? We're going to figure all that out, and we're going to have multiple people apply for the job, right, of building this house. And they're going to do sections, right? It's not just going to be one person. We're going to have somebody do the foundation. We're going to have somebody else do the walls. We're going to have someone else do the roofing. We're going to have somebody else do the electrical. We're going to have somebody else do the plumbing, right? So we're going to have different people doing different parts of the job. And we're going to pay them, let's say, either hourly or we're going to pay them once the job is complete. However we decide to negotiate, right? But let's just say that they're all employees, so we're going to pay them hourly to get the job done, right? Now, with all that being said, no matter what happens, unless we come across the LeBron James of, let's say, walls or roofing or the foundation of the house, we are not going to exceed the fair market value or the agreed upon rates which we already put down before we even bid the job, right? So we said we wanted to make $100,000 profit. We told the client that, hey, it's going to cost $200,000 to build, which has $100,000 profit in there. And so therefore, we have a strict budget of $100,000, let's say plus or minus 10%, that we're willing to, let's say we're willing to go as much as $110,000 to build this property, right? But aside from that, we're not going to exceed those numbers, right? Period. So whoever bids on the job, we have a certain hourly rate that we can pay them. Period. And if they don't want to work for that, if they're unwilling to work for that, then they're not going to work at this job. They're not going to work for this company. They're not going to build this house, right? Because we did our numbers based on fair market value. So now let's say we hired John and Tom and Al, and they all agree, let's say to work $20 an hour. They go, hey, yeah, that's fair. I can put the roof up $20 an hour. It takes me 10 hours, whatever, right? Now, while they're on the job, John, Al, they're all complaining that they don't get paid enough, right? Isaac and we as partners, right? We hired them, but we're nowhere to be found. We're off on vacation. They're the one out there in the hot sun, right? In the rain or whatever, right? Working, sweating every day, showing up to the job site with the foreman, right? Building the actual house. And they're like, how come we don't get paid more, right? While those guys sit out and sip pina colada, right? And that's a valid question to ask. And again, it's because they're, like I told you, the skill set, There's dozens of guys that we can find that could build that house. We're offering fair market value, so it's easy for us to replace them. If they want to walk off the job, they want to quit, we can have somebody else in there tomorrow that's just as competent, right? So they're easily replaceable. So therefore, we don't need to pay them $100 an hour, period. That's called economics. It has nothing to do with whether we like them, whether we don't like them. We're just simply doing business and running our numbers, period. That's all it is. And so when you start to understand that that is how business operates, then if you want to get paid more, you either have to improve your skills, right? So learn a higher paying skill, get more highly profitable skills, or you need to figure out directly how your position affects the bottom line of the company or your department or whatever. You need to figure out what you do specifically, even if it's just you're standing there greeting people and opening the door and that's all you do. You need to figure out how that impacts the company's bottom line, the revenue numbers, their net profit. And then you can go to your boss or your manager or whoever, and you can say, hey, if I can do my job better and improve the company numbers based on my actions, can I get a piece of that? And I tell you right now, every company in America worth their salt will say yes all day, every day. There's not a company out there that's trying to grow that would say no to that. And if they do, run, because you're in the wrong place. But they're going to say, sure. And you say, okay, I see right now you guys are making $10 million a year. I see that what I do right now as an employee, I'm making $25 an hour, but I see my contribution brings in, $100,000 or $150,000 a year. Well, no, it's going to be more than that. But let's say your production right now brings in $300,000 a year to the company in revenue based on your job, right? And what you do. So you go to your boss and say, hey, we're doing $10 million in revenue right now. I'm getting paid $70,000, $80,000 a year. I see I'm bringing in $300,000, $400,000 a year in revenue for the company, but $70,000, $80,000 is not enough for me to live on. All right, no problem there. Not the company's problem, right? You agreed to pay me. I agreed to work. That's a fair shake, right? And I've checked the market. Your competitors, other companies that will hire me, I got buddies that do the same job at other companies. We're all getting paid about the same. So, you're paying fair market value. We got that part. Okay, but I still need to earn more money. Now, I don't want to work like a dog and work 80, 90, 100 hours a week. So my next option is, how do I improve the bottom line? All right. And let's say right now with your current job, working 40, 50 hours a week, you're bringing in $300K revenue for the company every year. Let's say you tell them, hey, I want to get 20% of whatever extra revenue I generate above that $300K for the year. Because I'm gonna find some inefficiencies in my work schedule, right? I know that, I don't know, every day we waste time doing ABC. Or I could do CDE in a more efficient manner. Or you know what? I could take on this additional role and bring more value to the company because I know you're looking to hire somebody to do this full time, but I could do this part time and bring more value. And now you got someone that's familiar with the company. You don't have to worry about trade, whatever it is, right? But you figured out, you go, hey, instead of be asking for an extra $1 or $4 or $5 per hour raise or whatever it is that you would ask for, you go, let me get 20% of the revenue that I generated above the norm. So if the norm was $300K, let me get 20% of it. Let's see if I can hit $400K. Let's see if I can hit $500K, right? And then you start working on that. And you start playing with that. And all of a sudden you figure out how to adjust your job or what you do to get to $400K revenue, $500K revenue for the company, and now you're taking 20% of that. Well, what's 20% times $500,000? That's an extra $100,000 for the year. And I'm sorry, let's say, actually I did that math wrong, because it wouldn't be 20% of 500,000. It would be 20% of 200,000, because the 200,000 would be on top of the 300,000, right? So the 200,000, that would be an extra $40,000 for the year. Now, $40,000 for the year, on top of what you're already making, would that make a difference? For most people, yeah. That's a little over a $3,000 a month difference, right? Or even if it came as an end of the year bonus, right? $40,000 at Christmas, would that make a difference for you, right? So now I'm trying to show you how you can get paid more when you really understand the economics behind how and why you are paid what you're paid at your job. And it has nothing to do with you have 5 kids, you have 1 kid, you have no kids, you have a mortgage, you live in a tent, you got 1 car, or you got 3 cars, or your mom's sick and dead on a hospital bed. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has everything to do with your value that you bring to the company and how that affects the company's profit. And when you understand that, then you can learn how to negotiate and how to develop your skills to decide whether or not you want to bring more value and more profit to the company and therefore get paid more, right? So you have to learn either a high income skill set like sales, right? Or if you're going to stay at your job and you want to get paid more, you got to figure out how you impact the bottom line, and then you got to start improving your skills or your work or both, or your time at work, and playing with that to see how you can impact and improve the bottom line, and then tell your company and get it in writing that, hey, I want a piece of the pie of the upside that I help bring to this company, right? And if you do that enough, you can also become a consultant and do it with other companies and show them how you affected the bottom line without working yourself like a dog, like a slave, and get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So again, I'm helping you see the economics behind it and why you're never, ever just going to get paid what you think you should get paid to live how you want to live, because it's not based on that. It's not determined by that at all, right? Whether a new house costs $100,000 or whether a new house costs $10 million, it does not matter, right? What matters is the company, the profit that they're trying to turn, and then what that job position does to affect the bottom line in relevance or in relation to the company's goal, right? So let's take Amazon, because we've all used Amazon. If you're a delivery driver, hey man, you guys are invaluable. We love the overnight service, love same-day service. But how many people are willing to work for Amazon for $20, $25 an hour? They put out a job application, 10,000 people fill it out, right? They can replace those drivers any day of the week. Heck, Amazon hired FedEx. Guys, Amazon hired their own competitors because they got so much demand, right? They got so many clients that they serve, they went and hired their competitors. I've seen FedEx delivering Amazon packages. Now, why am I saying that? And why am I really emphasizing that? And why am I yelling that? Because if you are a delivery driver, and I'm not picking on them, I'm just using this as an example because that's what's coming to my head. If you are a delivery driver for Amazon and you're saying, I can't afford to live off what they pay me, you're replaceable. And not just you, half of America is replaceable. And they're complaining about, hey, my job doesn't pay me enough. It's because you're replaceable. The skill you do is easy. Anybody can do it, right? There's no particular uniqueness about you. You're not the Steph Curry of the game. You're not the LeBron James of the game, right? You're not an open heart surgeon or a cardiologist, right? You're a delivery driver. How many people know how to drive a truck, pick up some boxes, Drop them off, scan it, and take a picture of it. People do it part-time, right? People do it on these gig apps. They don't even work for Amazon, and they get packages, and they get a 5-minute training. They could do it, right? It's not a high skill, so that's why you don't get paid like somebody that is highly skilled, right? You don't get paid like an open heart surgeon, right? You don't get paid like a plastic surgeon, right? Because you're not highly skilled, right? So I want you guys to really see, you will never, ever get paid enough to feed your family or to live or to be able to buy a house or this car or take that vacation just because inflation has changed, or the cost of living has gone up, or the cost of housing has gone up, or the cost of vehicles have gone up. You're never going to get paid more money because of that. Ever, 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 ever. Because the economics behind it, that's not a variable in it, right? The variable is you. And that's what a lot of people don't realize, have not learned, and when they hear it, they refuse to accept it. You want to blame the government. You want to blame the system. You want to blame your boss. You want to blame Uncle Sam. But the truth of the matter is, capitalism, the marketplace, it always speaks. It's just like the stock market. The market is always right. Whether you buy stock, sell it, it goes up and down. The market does what it wants to do. And you just hope that you're on the right side of it. But if you're on the wrong side of it, you're going to lose all your money, period. And it doesn't matter if you think it's right, wrong, or indifferent. The market is the market, and it does what it does, period. And your job is no different. It's a business. Somebody is in the business of profit, and they're selling whatever products that your company sells, or they're selling whatever services that your company sells, or both, and you are a part of producing that revenue, that profit for the company, period. They're not interested, nor do they care about whether or not you can buy a new Lamborghini or a new house, or whether or not you can vacation in Tahiti for 10 days or 20 days. They do not care about that. They care about your production at your position and how it affects the company's revenue, and whether or not they're paying fair market value for you. And then they're also looking to see if they can replace you with either less expensive, or i.e., people that are just as competent, that are willing to work for less, right? Or they're trying to see if they can use AI or some type of technology to replace you, right? Or they're just looking at your production and how it affects the bottom line, period, and they're trying to see if they even need you still, right? That's where layoffs come sometimes, right? Or downsizing. They go, hey, you know what? We can actually cut these few jobs because these people spend 4 hours on coffee break, getting donuts, and on sport breaks, no water breaks, period. So why are we paying them for 8 hours and they're only working for 3 hours? They're showing up to work late, and they're leaving work early, and they're taking extended breaks. They're not putting in even the 8 hours of production that we agreed upon, and we're still turning a profit. Maybe we don't necessarily need them, or maybe we could cut back on their hours, right? Maybe we don't need them to work 8 hours. Maybe we could make them part-time, as a consultant, right? Or like a consultant, right? Maybe we just have them on an on-call basis, right? We don't need them on a full-time basis, right? That's what companies are looking at. So when you learn that, now you can see that if you're going to stay in and just be an employee, now you know the game that you're playing. Now, I recommend, becoming an entrepreneur. And when I say entrepreneur, I'm talking about, getting into sales, right? Learning how to do scales and produce an income for yourself. Learning business, right? Either how to buy a business, how to start one, how to operate in one, right? But you've got to learn something, all right? Or you've got to develop something where you can produce more value. And as you produce more value, you get paid more. And if it's your job, then you got to figure out how to make the company more money, period. Instead of saying, they don't pay me enough, you should ask, how do I make the company more money so they can pay me more money? Right? Because let me ask you, and let's take the business out of, let's forget a company for a while. If I told you, I said, hey, I can show you how to make $1 million in 5 minutes, guaranteed. But in order for me to do that, I need $250,000 from you when you make the $1 million. Or I need $500,000 from you when you make the $1 million. I want half. Because I'm going to show you how to do it. You're going to go do it. It's all legal. It's all ethical. It's all moral. And I'm going to show you how to make $1 million in 5 minutes. But I want half a mil from you after you make the $1 million for showing you how to do it. Who wouldn't take that deal? Right? Now, some people may not pay the 5, and they may try to steal from you. But any honest person out here that's smart would say, yeah, I'll take that all day. I don't have to put any money in. I just need to do this one work, or I just need to do this one service, right? I just need to do this one consulting gig. I just need to give this one talk or whatever. And then I can get paid $1 million? Sure. I'll pay you $500,000 to show me how to do that, teach me how to do that. Absolutely. Let's go. Well, businesses are doing the same thing. You go to any business, you say, hey, let me see if I can make you extra $1 million of revenue, an extra $100,000 of revenue, an extra $10 million of revenue. I want 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% of it. And we go, hey, it's not going to cost you anything. I'm going to figure it out on my own. You keep operating the way you've been operating. This is just going to be cherry on top. This is going to be whipped cream on top of the pancakes. Right? This is going to be icing on the cake. This is going to be extra. You're not going to have to do anything more. I'm going to do the extra work. I'm going to figure it out. And I'm going to raise the company value by figuring out some more efficiencies or processes that I can add to the company. And I just want a piece of that pie for the extra. I'm telling you, every company in America will say, yeah, let's sign for that. So now, hope that answers, or I wouldn't even say answers your question, because most people that have this conversation, they're not asking the question. I'm telling you that this is why you'll never get paid what you think you should be getting paid. But now that you know what the inputs are, you can decide what inputs that you want to put in so that you can get paid what you want to get paid or not, right? It's all up to you. It's always been up to you, but now hopefully this unveils the curtain behind the scenes. So now that you know, okay, how did the company arrive at whatever dollar amount that they offered you, right? And that's because they can replace you more or less at that price pretty quickly. All right? So guys, also I told you at the end of this video, I almost forgot, but I told you at the end of this video, I wanted to talk about why I missed last week's video, And, I love to sit up here and, portray like I'm perfect, or that, I don't make mistakes, I don't have any challenges and weaknesses in life, but I do. I'm normal, I'm human. I don't think anybody at this point in the game would find that to be hard or unbelievable, right? But I found myself looking at the stats, Some of my videos got views, some of them didn't. And when I set out the goal this year, my goal was just to post once a week, 52 weeks in a row. And I didn't say I wanted to have a certain number of subscribers. I never said I wanted to make the videos a certain length or, anything like that. But just my desire to get better, my desire to improve is that I want to see growth in my company, in my channel. I want to see more engagement in my channel. I want to see more viewership or more watch time with my channel, right? And I like a thing that Myron Golden says. He says the work is always working. Meaning the work that we do, it's always working. But he says when we think it's not working, that means the work is working on us, right? So what that means is, give me a second here, I gotta pass this vehicle that keeps on. It's just sitting in front of me, getting in my way. So he says the work that we do is either working or it's working on us, but it's always working, right? And so what that means is we like to see results. We're results driven. We love to see our results. I know I'm guilty of loving to see results. And so I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted to see. I wasn't expecting tremendous growth or anything like that, but it was a little discouraging to see 0 views. I mean, you pour your heart, you pour your heart out into these videos, right? Like Mary J. Blige say, I put my life all in these songs just so you can feel me. It's like I put my heart and soul into these videos just to try to help somebody, help them see the light, help open their eyes to see a new direction. And then nobody even watches it, right? And it can be discouraging. Yet at the same time, I would be the number one person to tell you, let's say if I were coaching myself on that and someone said that to me, I would say, hey, you got to push through that, right? You got to keep posting. One, your goal was to keep posting. Your goal wasn't to get 10,000 subscribers or 1,000 subscribers. Your goal was to keep posting, right? And so keep posting. And two, try to improve the quality of your posting, right? Try to keep getting better. Try to improve little by little every day, with each post. And then I also say maybe post on more, websites or, like Instagram, Facebook, etc. But try to invite more people to come take a look at what you're doing, right? Promote it more. So those are things I would say to myself. But again, like I said, it's always easier to coach others and to see what someone else can do or should do than it is to get yourself to do what you know that you should be doing, right? And so I was guilty this week of, getting into my emotions. And I wouldn't say that I decided to not post a video, but it was more of allowing myself to get down, feel some type of way, and then lo and behold, I look up and the week's gone past and I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't put in a video on, right? So those are my confessions, right? And I share this because, I am the number one proponent of, like I said, of pushing through during these times and saying that, hey, you got to have a strong mindset. You got to, look to the future. Everybody has a sucky beginning. Not everybody starts with a rosy beginning, et cetera, et cetera. And I want people to be able to come back and see these videos. I want people to be able to come back and see this and say, wow, this is where Isaac started. Like, look at this guy. Look where he started and look where he's at today. And he's talking about, being discouraged because he didn't get the amount of views for his channel that he thought he should have got. He didn't get the feedback that he wanted. He was a little discouraged and he missed a week. But he got back on his horse and he kept posting, kept getting better. And look at him now. Like, that's what I'm envisioning years from now, And so I want to be transparent about, how I feel, what I'm doing with this. And then also, I want to be more, I guess you could say, relatable, because I feel there's so many people that have had success, but they don't necessarily share the struggle or the sacrifice that comes with it, or the challenges that they have, right? Or if they do, they kind of brush past it. But they don't necessarily share with you while they're going through or while they're growing through what it is that they're doing, right? And so YouTube is a whole new venture for me. Obviously, I've watched dozens of hours, but I've always watched other creators and to some degree thought, hey, I can talk. I can have a conversation. I'm not afraid to put myself on camera. I don't know that I can edit videos and, make them sexy or, put a cool soundtrack underneath them and have just the right photo pop up at the right time. I don't know that I'm that great. But what I do know is that I'm willing to do the work. And so, these videos are proof of that. And so I'm going to continue doing them, It just reminds me of something that Myron Golden talks about, and I always talk about Myron right now because he's the guy I'm listening to, and kind of ingraining his philosophy or adopting his philosophy, and he gets a lot of his beliefs from the Bible. And one of the things he talks about is King Solomon, right? The wisest man to ever live, the richest, wealthiest man to ever live. And he said, he likes to copy Solomon's business plan. And so one of the things he talks about is Solomon put out 1,000 songs, meaning 1,000 poems. And we have the Songs of Solomon, Song of Songs, I believe is the actual name of the book. But Solomon wrote those Song of Songs, right? And he wrote 1,000 of them. And so the reason I bring that up is Myron talks about how Solomon's fame and fortune and wisdom preceded him even before social media or the internet or even telephones or even telegrams. The world knew who Solomon was and they heard about him. So he was talking about how one of the things Solomon produced content with those songs. And so Myron was talking about how he committed to doing 10 years of YouTube, just posting videos. I can't remember what the frequency was, but he was committed to posting videos on YouTube for 10 years straight. And he's well on his way to accomplishing that, and he's already having fantastic success from it. And I just thought to myself, I think I might be 20 videos in, 30 videos in, somewhere around there, 20, 30 videos in. And I thought, man, what's it going to look like when I get to 100 videos? If I'm doing one a week, that's almost 2 years. But what do it look like if I make it to 1,000 videos? And at 50 weeks, that's 20 years worth of posting. If I'm doing one a week, it's almost 20 years of posting. What type of impact and what type of platform would I have then? Like, even if I completely sucked, like, you can only suck for so long before even your sucking, there's going to be some people that just find your sucking to be entertaining and they're going to watch, right? Or there's just going to be some people that just mess with what you have to say, period, regardless of what it is, right? Right? I mean, you can start a conversation about saving the whales. There's going to be people that support you. You could say, you can start a conversation of why we should eat whales and barbecue them. There's going to be people that support you, right? So it doesn't matter. But it's just the idea that Solomon did 1,000, so why not put 1,000 pieces of content out before we start looking for results, Or what if you just committed to putting 1,000 pieces of the same content out, meaning like this video, like, a longer form video, putting out 1,000 videos, committing to that and try to improve throughout that process, and then letting the results fall where they may. But just knowing that if you commit to doing that 1,000, you're definitely going to be in a place that's just beyond what you can comprehend or imagine. And also that it may happen sooner or faster than you may think. But also that consistency is going to produce other results in your life that you could never imagine. So I got that from, Myron Golden. And so, these videos is also a part of that, is that right now I feel like the work is working on me, right? I'm learning what the market wants to hear, what they want, or what they care to hear about, what they don't care to hear about. I'm also learning how to find my market, meaning find who cares to even listen to me or who wants to hear what I have to say, how to serve them. And then I'm also learning, I'm not as much getting into video editing, but at some point I will hire an editor. But I'm going to get into that, start experimenting with that and promotion and all of that. And so all of that are skills that I'm learning while I'm committed to just producing the video every week. So right now the work is working on me, but eventually the work will appear to be working, i.e. when my channel starts gaining more subscribers, I start getting way more views on my videos, then the work will seem like it's working, but it's only after the work worked on me first, right? But anyways, just wanted to share that with you all. I didn't want to just post a whole separate video or double up this week. I just wanted to acknowledge that, yes, I missed last week. I do apologize. And but I'm not going to let that stop me. You know, my goal is still to post once a week for 52 weeks straight. I missed a week, no doubt, but I'm going to continue posting every single week. You know, I'm just going to keep my foot on the gas, keep going. And yeah, hopefully these videos provide value to you. If you do, like, comment, subscribe. I'd love to hear your feedback or additional questions you have on this, guys. Till then, take care.